An emerging issue of national concern is the passage from adolescence into adulthood for individuals with autism spectrum disorders. A lifelong and complex disability, autism is a developmental disorder that typically appears during the first 3 years of life, impacting development in the area of behavior, social interaction, and communication skills. Autism spectrum disorders affect 1 in 150 children nationally and 1 in 94 in New Jersey. One of the most challenging times for families affected by autism is when their children transition from federally mandated educational services through the public schools to the uncertainty of adult services. A major concern is access to residential options for both individuals and their families.
Currently, residential options for individuals with autism are very limited. I think individuals with autism and their families need to have a system supported by the state that allows for choice. If they choose to live in their homes with their families, families need financial support and other specialized support systems put into place in order to make that happen.
Since 1965, the New Jersey Center for Outreach and Services for the Autism Community, COSAC, has advocated for individuals with autism and their families. COSAC believes that housing opportunities are not keeping pace with the demand.
The current residential circumstance doesn't take into account there are many people that could live interdependently in the community. So I'm hoping that we'll see more homes built, more independent ways for people to live.
Supported living services provide adults with ongoing supports to foster their independence. However, because there is a shortage of these residential options, finding the most appropriate option can be daunting.
To have a total good life, someone like my son needs to have the residential component be integrated into the vocational and the educational and all the other aspects of his life in the community. All the services need to be integrated.
COSAC encourages families to start planning early for the residential needs of their children.
We're looking to learn as much as we can about housing options once we can no longer take care of them in the house.
It was a milestone in our family's life that Joe was able to obtain a service like this. When he first went into the group home, I knew he was going into a good place. Joseph has a good understanding of what to expect on a day-to-day basis, and that consistency is a part of his daily routine. There's really nothing more important to a parent than having that kind of confidence in what the rest of their child's life will be like.
But many adults continue to live at home because of long state waiting lists for such housing.
Unfortunately, that waiting list situation is a very difficult situation, which many people with disabilities across the country have confronted. And so in New Jersey, as you know, the waiting list is actually growing. It's not getting less.
With many children, they do not obtain services until they're in their 30s and 40s. And that's way too long to have children in the home for most parents.
Stephen is going to be 31 years old at the end of this month. And it's very, very clear to both his mother and I that he needs a group home setting. Stephen has been on the high priority list since July of 2000. That list has virtually not moved at all.
Matt Bucksbaum lives with his parents. He has been on a housing waiting list since 1996.
I'm afraid that if we wait till we're much older, Matt may very well be dealing with the loss of a parent through death and shifting to new housing all at the same time, which would be extremely difficult for him.
My greatest fear, which I worry about every single day, is what's going to happen after we die. Where will he be? Will he be living somewhere with people who understand autism, who understand his behaviors, who treat him with respect and caring? Or will he be mistreated? That's my biggest fear.
My husband refers to us as the Three Musketeers. We often include Matt in everything we do, not because it's appropriate, but because we just don't know what else to do. My husband and I have case managed Matt's life to make this work. I don't think most families have the time to be able to do this kind of thing.
There are a number of adults that are out there now living in a crisis situation. COSAC has really been a step ahead of understanding what people with autism need, and we're not going to forget about them.
In September 2007, New Jersey Governor John Corzine took another substantial step in his commitment to residents affected by autism spectrum disorders. He signed a package of bills sponsored by numerous legislators, most prominently Assembly Speaker Joseph Roberts, Jr. Along with this legislative pledge, Governor Corzine committed $5.35 million in his 2008 fiscal year budget specifically for autism services. For further information about autism spectrum disorders, contact COSAC.